All right, welcome back to the Bad Break podcast, where we dive into the juiciest breakup stories out there. Today, we're joined by the hilarious Corey Rodrigues with a breakup story that will have you laughing and crying all at once, hopefully. Uh, Corey, welcome to the show. We're so excited to have you here. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about this relationship before we dive into the breakup? How old were you? Where were you? Give us some backstory.
All right. I was 15. I was I was like 15, and I was 14, 15, and this person was older than me. They were like 16 years old. Lived in the town next door to me, and I was it was really like my first legit like love experience, you know? I know it's like I know I was young. I was 14 years old, but it was like, you can start imprinting on kids young, right? All the things that happened to us when we were very young are a big deal. So at 14, your first like legit girlfriend, or the one that you actually are like, this is my girlfriend, like for real, that can really either fuck you up or not. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So that's really the backstory on it. That's kind of what that's kind of what happened, man. It's like I hadn't thought about it until today. Really, when I was thinking about doing this with you guys, I was trying to think of all the random hookups, and I'm thinking about high school. I'm thinking about college. I'm thinking about post college. And I'm just like, man, and I'm like, nothing's worthy of even talking about. Just a bunch of fucked up stories. You know what I'm saying? Like of just a dude, kind of dating and shit like that. But then when I thought about this, I was like, this probably was the most impactful one like ever for various reasons. As we get into it, you'll see. But just super impactful.
Yeah, yeah, and it's young love. I mean, that's pretty wild to be in love at 14, 15 years old. Um,
Yeah,
like
I mean
how often
beyond
did you
it.
guys see each other? Were you in the same high school or something like that?
No, she lived in the town next door to me. So once you're locked in, you'll do whatever when you're a young dude, man.
How did you guys meet?
The pool alley, pool hall. You
Oh,
say
pool
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 hall.
hall,
hall.
pool
That's so
hall. Yeah,
retro.
yeah, yeah. That's what I told you. I was 14. Like I wasn't like
Couldn't go to the
it
bar.
wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't on an app. So yeah, we had a pool hall, and yeah, man, she was just beautiful. She was a beautiful girl, and just started talking that shit, and hang out, got each other's numbers, and kind of went from there. And I was just like, man, she's pretty. And then it was like, you're hanging out with somebody, and they're giving you all that love and attention when you're that age. Like, I think so. I was like, I guess I was 14. I got my first. We can just talk freely on here or no?
Yeah, for
Yeah, you
sure.
can
Yeah.
anything you want.
Yeah. So my first blowjob, I'm like, yo, that shit's crazy. You know what I mean? I'm like, yo, that shit will blow your mind, literally. But whatever, it'll blow your mind. Like to think, like, I remember just because you hear about them and stuff like that. Like I was, you know, you hear about that stuff, and then you get it done, and you're like, man, she has my fucking dick in her mouth. This is crazy. This is the craziest thing in the world. Like this is a crazy feeling, and like it's like the person's like do it, like she was showing me stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like I was a pretty, like, I wasn't like a square kid, you know what I mean? Like I had, probably by that time seen some videos, some nudies and shit, some magazines and something. I've seen some stuff, but like not like now where it's like, I didn't have a cell phone then, I'm
Right.
13, 14. It wasn't like it is now where it's like whatever,
Right.
but it was different. So her doing that as the first person I ever like went down on. It was just like and it was just like this is unbelievable. And so everything is like all these rush of emotions and sexual emotions and all, like all this stuff's happening. And the problem was, and so we can't keep our hands off each other. I like, as Gigi knows, I like feet. I like nice, like I like nice toes and shit. Like this girl had like the best feet ever. You know what I mean?
Were you
I'm like, oh,
15 and experimenting with a foot fetish?
oh man, I was fucking 4 experimenting with a foot fetish. You know, I mean, I wouldn't call it experimenting with. You know what I mean? At 4 or 5, whatever. But I knew that I liked them when I
Mm-hmm.
would see them. You know what I mean? All through my childhood, or whatever. So when I was with someone, you know, yeah, just messing around, hooking up, whatever. The little feet always come into play. But with hers were like perfect. They were nice. They were. I was just like, oh, this is like. I was like, this is it. I found the one. This is it, right? At like 14,
My
15 years
perfect
old.
foot
So
goddess.
yeah. Oh man. Oh, it's that part that accompanied with everything else because I really did like her beyond just like, you know, her feet. You know what I mean? That was like, you know, it was just a plus. And
Yeah.
so, what really went down was, you know, all of that hooking up and all that fooling around, and so I was ready to like, you know, obviously we're having sex at that point, you know, and um, you know, unprotected sex at that point, and so before we even get deeper into that, her parents, what I found out, her mom and dad were split, but they were not fond of. She was white and I was black, so they weren't fond of any racial mixing here. They were straight up racist, both mother and father,
Jesus.
right?
Damn.
So
That can complicate things.
yeah, and so her mom and she had like a brother that had cerebral palsy, and he was so cool, man. He's such a sweet little dude. So I would go over there, and I'd be like, when the mom would be at work, I'd be over the house. You know what I mean? I'd be like playing with the brother. You know, I get him to like laugh and stuff. It would feel so good. Like I really like was like, oh, I'm all in. You know, even though our moms treat me like shit, because what you realize is that even when you're young, I see this with older people now. It's like love will blind the shit out of you. You don't even care. Like her mom was straight up mean as fuck to me, but
Oh my God.
it was so easy to just like throw it away. I didn't care. Like it was like,
You
I
were
don't
like, I'm
care.
getting blowjobs from a foot goddess. Fuck this racist woman.
Yeah.
I don't need to care about that.
Right. It was like, I mean, it was almost like her mom would come home and she was like, I remember one time very vividly, her mom came home and she was like, I told you I don't, you know, I told you I don't want him at my fucking house or whatever. And you know, it wasn't like we were all up in the house like chilling or like, you know, we wasn't disrespectful like that. Like the mom's coming and we're like laying on the couch or something. I was
Yeah.
never that dude. I was always very respectful. But you know, that was my girlfriend. And I was over there, and because she'd always be like, "Whatever, mom." You know, it's. Let me say this: when you're dealing with somebody who has conflict with their parent, and it's almost like they have it out, and the person's always like, no, it's fine, I'll talk to her. No, it's fine. It's almost like you can again throw that shit to the side. And when you really are in love and infatuated with somebody and all of those things are together, you're really just like looking for any end. You're like, oh, it's fine. She said it's fine. You know, like you have no morality about it's just stupid.
Yeah.
So I used to be there, and I remember I was at the house one time, and her mom was like, "All right, well, we're about to have dinner, so you know." She
Get the
was
fuck
like,
out.
so like, yeah, basically like, you know, like we were sitting in her living room talking to her little brother at the time. We were in the house, and her little brother's like laid out on the couch and shit. And she was like, "We're about to have dinner, so you have to leave or go outside or something," right? That's what she says, and I'm like, "Oh shit!" So, but like at the same time, I wasn't super offended. I was like, "Oh, this bitch is racist." That's all I used to think. So I'm just sitting on the porch there eating. This fucking lady comes out and throws a burger out in a bag. Right, it was like a McDonald's bag, and she was like, "Here, if you're hungry." It was like fluke, she threw it on the porch.
What
I
the
just like,
fuck?
I'm not like, I wasn't like a poor kid or like didn't have anything. Like, so it was just kind of funny to me. It was almost like, what's this fucking lady thing? Buy this fucking house. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like it was just like, it was again, you're blind when when you like love somebody. You don't even, none of that shit, it really didn't bother me. It definitely left a stamp on me because I can remember it vividly and I can tell you guys about the shit now. But I wasn't like, oh my God, I'm super sad about all of it or whatever. I'm just like, man, I was a bitch. Like, how could you do? I couldn't imagine doing that to somebody. Like, even like right now, whatever. That's fucked up. Like, what's
It's
wrong with
so
this lady,
fucked.
right?
That's
Yeah,
so
that's
So
fucked.
incredibly dark.
yeah, yeah. Oh my God, it was crazy. And she just would come out later and be like, my mom's a bitch. And then we just go like sit in her car and we'd be like outside in the car. She'd be like, oh, she's fucking crazy. I don't know why she's fucking like that. I was like, yeah, that's nuts. And then we just sit in the fucking car outside for 4 hours outside the house, just hanging out, you know what I mean? Eventually hooking up or driving somewhere and hooking up and whatever. It just became that. And it was like normal. We meet up all the time and doing these things. So long and behold, she gets pregnant and I'm in like ninth grade. Right?
Oh, fuck. That's a nightmare.
Oh, yeah. And she was a junior and I was in ninth grade at this point. She gets pregnant and I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm ready to live my life. I'm ready to be a dad. Like, again, this is love and stupidity, right? I'm like, I'm ready. If I got to go to the army, right? And I grew up in a, like, yeah, I'm ready. I'm ready. Yeah, no idea. But I was ready to, the readiness that I felt was like, I'm ready to be with this person. Whatever that means, I'm down.
Yeah.
So
that's really cute, Corey.
It kind of is, yeah. You're ready to be a father
like,
at
that's
15.
crazy.
I didn't give a fuck. I didn't give a fuck. Like, I was like, I'm ready. Like, I'm ready to be with this person. Whatever that means, I'm down. I don't care. Like, I come from a pretty upper middle class, affluent town or whatever, right? And so everybody's gonna go to school. Everybody we know goes to school. Everybody's names is printed in the paper, in the local paper. Like, they're going here. Obviously, I'm not going there in ninth grade, but I still didn't care. Like, I was just like, I don't care. I'll be in the army. I'll go to the army and I can learn stuff in the army. And then I'll still, I'll make money and I'll get a good job from there. Like, I'm thinking of shit in ninth grade because this is about
You're like 3 years from even being able to join the army at that point.
Right.
Funnily enough.
Right. So, what happens is apparently her dad, who I had only seen because he would never talk to me, super just like extra rude dude, and they don't live in the same house. Parents were split, so see the dude like in passing and whatever, like, but the dude really won't look at me, whatever. He's just a dick. And I guess he this is fucked up, but he like hit her to make her have a miscarriage, hit her in the belly.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
It's fucked up. So like, more than once. And so she has a miscarriage.
Jesus Christ.
Yes, very fucked up.
God damn.
So, but she's like, whatever, like, my dad's fucked up, but he said he doesn't want any black babies. You know what I'm saying? And all this other shit's crazy, bro. So
she really just let a lot of shit slide with her parents.
There's a lot happening here.
A lot. So I'm devastated, but I'm devastated. Again, this is my maturity level. I'm devastated because she got hit. I'm not devastated because of the baby, because I didn't even know what that meant. Like, I didn't even know what a miscarriage. I never heard of a miscarriage yet until she was talking about that or whatever. So I wasn't like, oh my God, like, I'm not going to have a kid anymore. I was kind of like, all right, well, I guess we're not doing that part, and he shouldn't be putting his fucking hands on you. I'm going to say something to him. I'm ready to fucking go talk to this girl's dad, go see her dad. But not because of the baby, more because he fucking put his hands on her. I'll fucking show him. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, little fucking cock diesel little 14-year-old. Like, I'll fucking show him, go over there and get the shit beat out of me, right? She's like, no, don't fuck with my, don't do it. My dad, he'll kill you. I'm like, I'll fucking kill him, put his hands on my girl or whatever. Again, just like so secondary with the baby or whatever. So, but that was my maturity level. I was a little dude. And so story continues. We stay together, obviously. We're still together. Oh, I love this girl, whatever. I'm just loving her. And I'm talking to her one day. This is before cell phones. So we used to call each other on, like when I would be near her house, I'd call off of a payphone. And a lot of payphones back in the day, you could call the payphone back. So I knew the payphones, like there's certain payphones you could go to. You're like, oh, you could call it back. The payphones would have a number on it. So I would like, you'd find the payphones that have a number on them and you call and then the payphone ring back. Like in the old school movies, you're like, how the fuck you calling a payphone? Now all of them have a number there, but some of them have a number. So I'd find those ones and then call, and that's how we would talk. And, so I'd be talking. So I'm talking to her one day, and mind you, I used to bring my boys, like she had like a sister who wasn't as conventionally as attractive as her, but she was still a pretty girl. She just wasn't like, she was like a redhead and stuff, and looked a little different, was a little heavier than her sister, but not like fat by any means. She was pretty. And this the girl I was with was blonde, and you know what I mean, just pretty, just different looks. But I would bring my friends all the time to like hook up with her sister because I don't want to go over there by myself. You know what I mean? You know, I didn't always want to go, so
You
I'd
brought
bring a friend.
guys to go to hook up with her sister.
His less attractive sister.
No, I didn't mean it. No, see, that comes out fucked up. I see. There's a reason I'm telling you that though. She wasn't less attractive. They didn't look alike. Put it that way.
Different strokes for different folks. We get it.
Exactly.
You're into what you're into. It's fine.
Yes, exactly.
And that was honestly kind of considerate, you know, bringing her someone to get with, so that
or just because I wanted to roll with my boys. Like I was going to this other side of town. I wanted to roll with my boys. There was always a little racist element in her area where she lived. There was these dudes who like, I remember just telling you again where my brain was at. I remember there was a group of dudes over there. It was like a little gang of dudes, not like a gang like Bloods and Crips and not like that. It was just a gang of racist ass white dudes that I used to go over to this area near her house. And I would be like sitting on one of the times I'm out it and just sitting on the porch. They'd be walking through. Where the fuck you over here? You know, they always talking shit, but I was never like, again, I probably should have been like, I'm never coming back again. Like, I'm afraid, but
you're like, I'll just bring a friend.
Yeah. Like, loving somebody and feeling like that will make you be like, cause I belong here. Just like everybody. Like I'm saying shit to a group of dudes that like not giving a fuck, like ready to go at all times. Like I'm ready to go. And it wasn't like I was being a tough guy. I just was like, you're not going to stop me from coming over here. And if I allow them to stop me from coming over there, I'm not going to fucking see this girl like I want to see her and hang out or whatever. So it was just like, I can understand why people get in certain mindsets because I was like that even as a little dude. And so, anyways, I'm on the phone and I'm talking to her. And like I said, I would bring my friends over, a couple different friends would come over and she would have other friends too, not just her sister, you know, to hook up with and hang out or whatever. And one day I'm on the phone talking to her on the payphone and she goes, hold on. She clicks over and she comes back and I was like, oh, what's up? She was like, oh, nothing, you know, just acted like nothing, you know, said she was somebody else was on the phone for somebody, whatever, you know. And then she said, hold on again. So she clicked over again. And when she clicked over, I hear my best friend at the time on the phone talking to her. And she's like, yeah, I'm talking to him now, blah, blah, blah. So I'm hearing a whole conversation with like my best friend who I brought over there before to hook up with her sister.
What the fuck?
This is my best friend. Like, this is the shit right here. So this is like one of my best friends. So I'm listening to these two. They're talking. She's like, yeah, I'm talking to him now. And my friend's like, yeah, well, you know, I want to hang out. I want to do all these things. He says, you guys do this and that. And I want to do some of that. I want to be able to, you know, to fuck. And I want to do this. And you should, you know, the blowjobs you give. He tells me all this. And she's like, yeah, I like that. Like, she's like, that would be fun. So they're like having they're really having like a little lust fest on the phone. Oh, and so shit. she goes, all right, I'm going to hang up with him now or whatever, you know, blah, blah, blah. So she clicks back over. And when she comes back, I just play. I'm fucked up right now. I just play regular. I'm like, hello, you know. She's like, hey. I'm like, hey, and I'm like, my heart's beating so fast and shit because I'm like, man, this gotta be a joke or some shit. Like, how the fuck? How did this happen? How did I even hear that?
How did you hear? Yeah.
What the fuck was that? So I'm waiting, but I'm like, my heart's like, bah, 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 and I'm just, and I'm like, hey, and she's like, hey, she's like, all right, so just back to normal. Like, yeah, so all right, babe, I love you. I'm gonna go for now. I gotta go, blah blah blah. You know. So however she got off the phone, I don't remember that specific detail. However she got off the phone, and I remember hanging up like, oh shit. So I immediately call my boy that she was talking to. This is one of my best friends. I call him. He's like, yo, what's up, man? I was like, hey, what's up, dude? What you up to? He's like, I'm just chilling, man. Just chilling. I ain't doing nothing much. He's acting regular. This motherfucker's still on the phone with her. He just clicked over to talk to me because she's talking to him right now. He's like, yeah. I'm like, yo, what you doing? He's like, nothing. I'm like, yo, you ain't talking to nobody or nothing? He's like, nah, I ain't doing nothing, man. I'm just chilling out. What are you doing? I'm like, oh, I'm just down here about to go see, you know, the girl. We'll call her Martha. It's a fucked up name. That sounds super old. No, I don't like that name. We're gonna go to Scarlet. Okay, Scarlet. And he's like, "Oh, that's what's up." He goes, "Oh, cool, man." He's like, "All right, man. We'll have fun." And I'll talk to you. I go, "Oh, aren't you talking to Scarlet right now?" And he goes, "Oh, what are you talking about, man?" I said, yo, I said, you motherfucker, man. I said, I know you're on the phone. He goes, what are you talking about? I'm like, bro, the phone clicked over and I heard you motherfuckers tell you. He's like, what are you talking about? I was like, look up. I just hung up. And I was like, the anger inside me was just like, I was like, oh shit. And here's what it did to me. What it did to me, guys, was it didn't give me like PTSD or give me like, I don't know. It didn't give me like depression. I didn't get all that shit. I did get sad, but what it also gave me was like an insight. Like it gave me like, oh shit, people can fucking be like this. Like I didn't know that someone can even be like that. Like I didn't know that. Like it opened up a door that I didn't know existed. I thought when somebody was acting like that, like you were good. But then I was like, oh shit, like it fucked up my trust. That's what it did. It didn't do anything
such
else.
An early age.
I'm so glad though that I heard it. Like as devastating as it was, I'm like, wow. Like I realized at an early age that people are going to do what the fuck they want to do. There's nothing you can do about it. People are going to do what they want to do. And that's just it. And it planted that shit in my head. So yes, I've always been a jaded dude since then. As I've grown up, I'm a little bit like, I always know that I'm just very keenly aware that people are going to do what they want to do. Because here's triggering points for me, right? I hate to use the word triggering as it's used now, but whatever. Here's things that I really hone into when I hear somebody talking, okay? When I hear somebody say, oh, I didn't cheat on that person because I couldn't bear the devastation that they would feel. That means nothing to me when I hear somebody say that. The reason it means nothing is because I realize that if someone is only not cheating on you based on how they think you feel or you're going to feel, then all they have to do is justify how you feel to do what they want to do anyways. Because people are going to do what the fuck they want to do. Meaning, like, if I say I'm not going to cheat on Gigi, right, because I don't want to see Gigi cry, I could never hurt her because I love her too much. I could never do that to her because of how she feels and blah, blah, blah. All Gigi has to do is piss me off. Now I've justified a reason to be like, well, fuck it. I'm going to do what I want to do anyways. All I have to do is feel like Gigi doesn't love me as much. Justified the reason. All I have to do is feel like it's never going to last. Justified the reason. All I have to do is feel like Gigi doesn't care about me. Justified the reason. You can always give yourself a reason if it's about the other person. But when it's about you, when it's literally about you, then when you make decisions on what you actually want is much different. If you don't want to cheat on that person because you don't want anybody else, is much different. And people can fuck you up there. They can jade your mind there. That's where I got the little extra things in my head where I'm always like, and I just see it too much. I just see people like, oh, I could never do this. Like, nah, you do what you want to do. Like it's just you can just tell, you know what I mean? It doesn't mean that someone doesn't care about someone else's feelings. It doesn't mean that they don't consider the person. But it's not the primary reason.
Like it's not
That's
enough. That can't be the
reason.
only. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's a secondary reason. You got to worry about your own shit first.
I gotta know. How did you end it with Scarlett?
So when I talked back to her, I said what it was.
You called her again?
Yeah. I talked to her. I went back, talked to her.
I love the drama.
Yeah, and so what I did was I had it out with my boy first. I had it out with him because I called him and he was talking that shit and I hung up, and he knew I was beyond angry because back then I used to do this thing where I was very like I had these weird little like rules with myself. Like it was like if I ever hang up on somebody, that means that I really, really, really don't like you. Like if I hang up on you, like I always considered that one of the most disrespectful things. Like if somebody hung up on me, I'm like, don't call me back. Like, don't fuck with me. Like, I don't fuck with you. You know what I mean? That was like my cutoff points. So if I hung up on you, you knew it was like, so I hung up on him that day. And, but it's hard when you're hurt. You know what I mean? Like that was a good friend. You know what I mean? So
fuck him.
Yeah.
He doesn't sound like that good of a friend.
Like a really
I know.
shitty friend.
I know. I think he was stupid because we're friends again now. To this day, we've been friends again. And we're
Really?
closer.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
It took a while though. It took a while because, it took a while because it just was
I would not bring him around your girlfriends.
No. It took a while before I did that. Yeah. But it took a while because we had built so much trust. He broke that shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then his reasoning was good. And then he kind of put his money where his mouth was and kind of like he was showing in different ways. He was doing more showing than doing of his loyalty. And so that helped me get over that. And it was just like, damn, this is fucked up what he did. But like, because it made me just want to be like, man, fuck this dude forever, as I did for a while, as understandably so. And the same thing with her. So with her, here's what happened. Here's what's fucked up about this. When I confronted her about it, she denied it. I told her I had already talked to him, right? You know, and even at the time, he's like, I'm sorry, man. I'm just dumb, man. I don't fucking hook up like you do. You know, all this other shit. All these reasons, excuses. And so when I talked to her and I told her everything and I said, yo, that's fucked up. And she was like, oh, you know, I'm sorry. I said, so how many times have you guys fooled around? Like, it didn't sound like it was the first. She was like, no, it's never happened. It was the first time. And, you know, all the lies that someone says when they're trying to squeeze out and not make it as bad. I'm like, oh, it's fine. So what I did was I still hung out with her, but I was very inside. I was very cold and callous, but outwardly I was very warm and chilling and so I still was getting these blowjobs.
Corey.
I still was getting access to these feet. I was getting everything that I wanted from that side, but I completely turned off the other side. And I felt like it was almost like a fuck you. Like I'll pretend longer until this fizzles away. But so I understood what happened and I just never had trust for her again. And I know it's wrong to trust the dude again, but that was my boy before.
I think you absolutely can rebuild trust. I think it's really actually commendable that like you valued that friendship enough to allow him back into your life and allowed him to prove that he could be a good friend. There's nothing wrong with that. People fuck up.
Especially as a teenager. Like he was a sexless, horned 14, 15-year-old boy. And you were probably telling him like, I'm getting so much ass from this chick. Like, he was like, I want in, you know?
I want that.
No, for sure. You know what I mean? And that was exactly what he said in the way that we would say it. That's exactly what he said. That being said, it opened up something in me with her. Like I was able to all of a sudden be like, just like straight up, like cold inside and just be like it only was like, it was just a self-serving thing at that point because I felt like you had already, you fucked me up, but you fucked me up, but not in the sense where you're controlling me. Now it's just like, all right, well, that's cool. Like it was like, it's cool. I'll still chill. I'll still get, because it still was fun. Like it's not like when somebody does something fucked up to you. Sometimes it's not like the person's whole being changes if you just act like things were the way they were, right? But I know the truth inside of me, and it would never go further than that. And God, fuck it, I'm so happy that there was never a baby situation. That's all it was making me think. It was like, oh my God, I'm so happy it was a baby situation. It also made me think, was she full of shit? Did her dad really punch her in the stomach? Did her dad really push her down the stairs? Did she really have a miscarriage? You know what I'm saying? Because once someone shows you a shady side, then you start questioning everything. You're like, is everything fucking shady about you? You know what I mean? That's what it made me feel like. And I was like, damn, I wonder if that shit really happened. And I would have went over there trying to fight this fucking dad. And who knows if he did that. I do believe he did it because he was a dick, and I've heard him talking to her on the phone before, and he was pretty volatile. But I mean, you know, at that point, she kind of had me like putty at that point. You know what I mean? Kind of Play-Doh'd me out until until I heard that phone call, and it was like someone was like, "Wake the fuck up! Wake up! You see what's going on?" And then I was like, "Oh shit!" And the element of the story that I left out was that her mom was so reckless. Like, I live with my grandparents, right? And she used to call my house and harass my grandparents and be like, "Keep him away from my daughter."
God.
And she would call often and be like, "Keep him. We don't want I don't want him. Around. I don't want his black ass around my daughter and shit like that." So she was saying things like this. And you'd hear her and my girl in the background. She would be like, "Mom, shut the fuck up. Don't say that." Now they're talking to my older grandparents and they're saying all this crazy shit to them back and forth.
Poor grandparents.
Oh, man. And they sent the cops to my house, a couple times looking for the daughter. But the thing is, like I told you, in my town.
This sounds like a movie.
Oh, it's crazy. She would send the cops over, but I know the cops, you know what I'm saying? So the cops would come over and they're like, "Hey, is she here?" Because the mom's trying to get her to come home or whatever. And I'm like, "Nah, she's not here." They're like, "All right, well, we got to walk through." Cops would come and fucking walk through the house. I'm like, "She already left or whatever." But they wouldn't like start like cutting open the mattresses like she's fucking hiding in the mattress. They would just like walk through the house and then be like, "All right, man, we got to just do the fucking walkthrough check or whatever." I'm like, "Yeah, no problem." They would come, check. If she was there, they'd be like, "You got to head home." If she wasn't there, they'd be like, "All right, thanks, sorry to bother you," type of thing. It wasn't like they were coming in like, "Everybody on the ground."
They were like, "This fucking bitch is calling us again about her daughter, and now we have to go out to that guy's house."
You know what I'm saying? It was like, so there was a lot of harassment in that area, and I felt bad about that situation where she was like fucking with my grandparents there. But like I said, ultimately, guys, it ended up informing me. Even though it jaded me, it informed me, and the biggest lesson I got out of it is the shit I was saying before. Like, you can't control that. You can't control what somebody wants to do. Like, my boy doing that, he did that shit because he wanted to do it. He didn't do it because he was worried about my feelings, and I was expecting to be worried. He was like, his carnal desires were more than what I don't want to hurt my best friend's feelings. He's like, "Fuck that, man. I want some pussy." That's all he's thinking. You know what I mean? Like, his brain is there. Her brain is wherever it was. She wanted to hook up, so.
It sounds to me like, I obviously don't know her, but it sounds like she had like such a troubled home and this was how she acted out and sought validation.
Yeah, maybe. I didn't process that at the time. You know what I'm saying?
I would be shocked if you did.
I was too busy wanting to be a dad.
You're like, "I'm going to be a father. I'm ready."
So.
Damn. That's so fucked up. Do you have trust issues now in your relationships or even in your friendships?
I have short fuse. I have short leash issues, not trust issues. So I still trust. I just, if the signs show up, I just know what they are. And I'm thankful that I saw some of that stuff early on.
Like, there's a lot of caution.
Yeah, a lot of caution. And I help many friends in those situations. Because there's a thing to be like, listen, some jadedness, if somebody robs, steals from your car, you go somewhere, you park at your gym every day, and you're like, "Oh, it's a great town," and you leave your doors unlocked because that's what you do. Somebody steals your shit, okay? Now, well, let's say you're at the gas station and somebody has robbed people you get robbed at this particular gas station. Is it not wise for you to keep your head on a swivel going forward? You should have already had it there. So I don't look at all this shit all the time as like so negative. Like, are you jaded? Do you have trust issues? No, I have trust awareness. You know what I mean? I don't look at all this shit as terrible. I look at some of it as enlightenment. It's like, thank you that happened. Sometimes someone needs their car to be robbed so they can not lose their whole car next time. They need their fucking wallet to be stolen out of there so their wallet and car and baby aren't driven off with next time. Sometimes you need to be made aware that these things do happen, so you're not just like, la, 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 and then this devastation, you're ready to fucking jump off a building when this happens after you bought a house with this person and had 3 kids with this person, and just like you opened up yourself to them to the degree that there's no return. When I see people do that, I'm very nervous for them, because I'm like, you realize you're leaving nothing to hold on to. You're just, if something snaps, you're jumping.
Right.
You know what I mean? That to me is scary. So yeah. So
I love that though. Trust awareness, not trust
yeah,
issues. I mean, I hate for you that this had to happen at
yeah, it's okay.
15 years old, but
We should
it
call this
definitely.
episode Trust Awareness with Corey Rodrigues.
That's wild. That's fucking wild, man. I mean, the fact that it was 15 years old or 14 years old too is like so insane. But learning those lessons, like you said, I mean, it probably helped you in so many ways from that point on in life. Did
Yeah,
you eventually like officially call things off with Scarlet, or did things just fizzle out, or
they fizzled out. I don't
yeah.
even know how. It was one of those things where I don't even know how it completely ended.
Yeah.
But it was almost like I moved on with my life, she moved on with hers, and we've reconnected online at like a later date or whatever. I've seen her at a later date online, and we've talked and chatted up and stuff like that. Had real cordial
Oh, that's sweet.
conversations.
That's a
Yeah.
nice ending to that story. I'm
Yeah.
happy.
Oh yeah. Like, cause I don't feel like me telling the story is like how I felt then. I literally feel nothing about it right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, honestly, I feel like nothing. Like it was so long ago that there's been so much life lived in between that time. It just, when I can recall it, it's just, I knew what it made me feel like, and I know how it impacted
Totally.
my life, but
Yeah.
I don't, it's like, it's cool. Like she's doing great. You know what I mean? It's good. It's good. It's good.
That's so nice.
That's so awesome, Corey.
Yeah.
What
Damn,
an amazing
full circle.
story. Thank you for sharing it.
Yes, thank you guys for having me, man.
Truly,
Cool.
absolutely.
I don't think I've told anybody that story in a long time. Very long time.
We have the exclusive here.
Now that we're coming up to the end, can you let everybody know where our listeners can find you if they want to watch all your comedy?
Yes, you guys can find me on and first of all, let me just say, or second of all, I should say, yeah, I guess I could have cracked more jokes, but I just wanted to kind of be factual with you guys and get the shit out.
No, you're an amazing storyteller. It was really fun.
All right. Because Chris set me up in the beginning, like, you guys are gonna be cracking up. I'm like, I don't know if you're gonna be cracking up that much. Sorry.
I mean, my jaw was on the floor the whole time.
I was
mean,
like,
yeah, it was one thing after another. I mean, it was
really
a roller coaster, but
yeah, it was
fucking wild.
up, man. That was a fucked up time. So you can find me on Instagram at Corey Rods, COREYRODS. You find me on Facebook. I was on that still. Corey Rodrigues, Corey with an E, Rodriguez with an S. And if you want to come to a show, CoreyRodrigues.com. Corey with an E, Rodriguez with an S. You guys catch me there, and I love to interact with you.
Awesome.
amazing.
Corey,
thank you so much, Corey. Yes, thank you
so much for having me.
Appreciate it.